Hello, and I'm joined by Lewis Jones, the MC for PDC Dart. Lewis, how are you today?
Good, mate. Yeah, it's nice. I'm enjoying the downtime. I've got a little bit of envy because I spoke to Josh Phillips. He's not my best, but he's the head of media at the PDC. I
Yeah,
spoke. He texted me earlier. He's on the plane to Australia, and I'm a little bit like, oh, kind of want to go now. Um, I love going to Australia, but I mean, it's one of those things that things have changed. I'm using other people to do stuff. So, and to be fair, I wasn't that bothered about going. To be honest, so I was looking forward to having the summer at home. But like anything, I think it's when all the lads are going away. It's like, I could be out with the lads, and then obviously I love my job as well. So it would be nice to go. But then I've just looked on it, and he's been on the plane since 10:30 last night, and he's still on one now, and he's on it still for another 5 or 6 hours or whatever it is. So um, now I'm not as envious, I guess, because the
yeah,
long haul flights aren't for me.
yeah,
I've got
yeah.
far too much ADHD to sit on a plane for 23 hours.
Imagine, when I saw you at Alexandra College, you were all over the place.
Wasn't I? Yeah, I
Yeah,
was bouncing, wasn't I then?
yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you were. It was like a go. Get out of candy shop.
I know. I remember that. I mean, I love Ali Pally, and obviously at the time for me, it was like I mean, I was under a lot of pressure anyway at the beginning, and there's always going to be pressure with the job that I'm doing.
Yeah,
Um, but the other thing was I had John there as well, and like to me, it was just like I was just absolutely loving it, and I still now I think there's still a big void that John's not there.
yeah, yeah,
He's got so much life in him, and
yeah.
he's funny, and he's good to me, and all these things that I need, around me. I mean, John was that, and it's still now. I really miss him being there. I really do.
Let's start from the very beginning. Let's talk about you. How did you first get into emceeing or and stuff like that?
So my involvement with dart started a long time ago. That was back in 2007, so 18 years ago, when I worked for Modus, which I was there for maybe I think 8 years ish, and then I carried on doing exhibitions after I left. But I never emceed until a phone call I got probably just over 2 years ago. It was maybe June time 2 years ago that Matt Porter rang me, and he said, "Look, I want some backup for John." And when I'd left 10 years before that, Matt had said to me, "If I need an MC one day, I'm going to give you a call." She says to try and
Yeah,
get practicing. And to be honest, it was something that Matt Porter said something in his head. It's the reason why he's the best CEO in one of the best CEOs in sports. Is that he's got plans, and that's what he sticks to, or whichever. Or you might see something in people. And then so Matt Porter phoned me, and he said, "Look, I want John to stay on longer. I need some backup, so I want you to come in and start learning." Um, so I
what a
came,
crazy phone call.
yeah, a phone call that was from Matt, and then so I spoke to Matt for a while. I was like, okay, and then we got to like I think it was maybe it was about September, and he said, "Look, I'm going to get you to come and do board two at Minehead." He
All
said,
right.
"But I was trying to get practice, and it was difficult to get into the exhibitions." I'd ask a couple of people, and they're like, "Look, it's hard to get up to you to go and do stuff and knock some people off their perch on the exhibition circuit." So I really struggled when I said to Matt, "I hadn't done it." He was like, he said, "Well, you've not been able to get any practice." I was like, it's really tough trying to get in that because people, I could understand. I wouldn't want someone coming and doing a job I was doing or whatever. And I said, look, at the end of the day, Matt, I said, if you're not using them, um, mate, I said, look, just let me have a go at it. Just let me do it. And he was like, all right. And then I went out and done it, and it wasn't brilliant, of course, at first. Like anything, the nerves were. I was building up to it for months. I had months and months of building up to it. Practicing a bit and at home or whatever, and then sort of when you went up and you go up on a stage, you're like, I remember the nerves in me. I mean, it was horrible. Everything scrambled out my head. I was rushing everything, and um, but to be fair, with the players' walk-ons, I done okay in terms of delivering it. I think I was incredibly shouty. I was very, very rushed. But that was it. That started the first time I'd ever picked up a microphone. Really was November 24. So we're not even at 2 years yet.
And you're doing an incredible job. Just under 2 years.
In Donald's 2 years, yeah, that's what I think in terms of how far I've come in that time and how much I've improved. Yeah, it was always going to be tough at first. Yeah, we're a year on from my first time I'd done live television at Blackpool when I'd done a women's world match play, which that was all John McDonnell's idea because I was up there doing the fan cams and whatever. And John had said, look, we need Lewis to start doing stuff. He said,
Yeah.
he said, what's the worst? It's, you know, he's got to go. Why is he doing a women's world match play? And John really backed me on it. And then, so I was only up there for a few days. So I went back home, picked up my suit, all that stuff, went back up again. So I sort of midway through the tournament and went back up and John was right there beside me. He you know, he spoke to me, you know, he come in the morning, you know, went through everything with me and Dave Allen was there and Josh and I done a screen test with Sky, which I was really nervous about because I knew Sky weren't going to let me on unless I passed that screen test.
Yeah.
Which, of course, they're the biggest broadcaster in the world.
Yeah.
Biggest, you know, so when I went up and done it, and I've done really well. And there was bits I need to change. You know, you obviously to be nervous. Matt was like, "It sounded good." You know, things got to change. And then Sky said, "Yeah, we're happy for him to do it." And then I've done it, and I think that was I was done really well with that. And I remember Helen Chamberlain text me, who used to be present Soccer AM. So I know Helen from years ago. And then she rang me. She was like, fair play. So when I saw you come up on the screen, I thought this. He said he talks so fast. Like she said, she said she used to do that. And she was like, and she was like, I can't. She said you're really good at it, really, really good. So and that was a really nice phone call to get actually, because you know Helen was it was a very, very good broadcaster. I mean, I'm a '90s kid. I remember being on Big Breakfast, and obviously I knew Helen. I knew her relatively well back in the day. So. That was so that was really nice. Get phone calls to that, give me some advice on some bits, you know, always slow things down, which I was always told, which I kept doing. And then it went on to where was the next one I was at? So it was October, that would have been the Grand Slam when Grand Prix. And I came out, I'd done the fan cams, I'd done some of the warm-ups, and I think that's when it was sort of coming about. I was hearing that maybe John wasn't going to stay as long as they thought, and which to me I thought, you know, one, I was disappointed by it. I didn't want John to go because I was learning a lot from him. You know, he was really, you know, to teach me how to do stuff. He's like, you know, I want to retire. I was kind of hoping it would be like maybe a year or so. Do you know what I mean? I was hoping to do another Worlds at least. And then it got announced he was retired. So then I got put on to the Grand Slam. I think it was the first three days or 4 days. I'd done the afternoons or whatever it was, and made a few mistakes with a couple of bits I wasn't at. But either way, I still delivered it live on television. That's the hardest bit. Is live TV is very difficult. So then it went on to that, and then I think it was then that John announced his retirement. Then I'd done the Players Champs. I'd done the whole thing at Minor. John wasn't even there. That was the first time John wasn't there, sort of holding my hand before I went on, or you know, grabbing the back of my shoulders. And you know, I can't ever explain the level of encouragement I got from John. What was absolutely unbelievable. You know, it was like a crash course into it.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you're learning from the best. So.
Yeah. So done that, and then it got. I think then it was announced that John was going to retire. So I knew before that.
Yeah.
Then it was announced before the Worlds, and of course, you know, that's the first time I sort of dealt with getting grief online. But look, I was told that, I expected that. Probably back in the day, I would have been one of the people that would have been critical of people not having an idea what, you know, what it could make people feel like. But I think I'm relatively thick-skinned. I wouldn't say.
How do you cope in that situation?
some of it I actually really listened to, because some of the points people were making was completely true, and it wasn't anything I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I knew I'd done, a couple of bits I wasn't happy with, and
Yeah,
I knew I was like this. I was staring at the camera because it was tough thing to do. That's something you can't learn to get rid of that until you've gone up there and done it.
yeah,
I was learning a job, having probably not as much training as I wanted to. Um, and then going live and telling, but also you're learning live TV. A lot of people go and doing pre-recorded stuff before they start doing
yeah,
live television. So that was, yeah. So, but so a lot of the things people were saying was I understood. But then at the Worlds, I thought I was starting to improve with stuff because I was starting to get a lot more experience. And of course, people say, "Oh, he's not," but I knew I was improving, because I was watching some of the stuff back, not a lot of it, what they were teaching me. And I had a vocal coach at the time as well, so she came down to the house actually, and I've got a little village hall out where I live. We hired it out, and we were in there for 4 or 5 hours delivering stuff, and she was teaching me stuff which really happened. That was all before the World Championships. The PDC had sorted it out for me. She come down, and we went out and done that. And it was like those bits there that I then learned and went out and done that. Then I got to what I noticed those things were there. But of course, when because John had announced the retirement, then I'm on the World Championships, and I mean the World Championship, the amount of spotlight that's on darts when that comes on,
yeah,
it is probably, I don't know how much more viewers they get during that time, but it's a crazy amount. I think I remember looking at my Instagram. I had a million people had gone and looked at my profile, not followed me, but that's how many people come across your
yeah,
profile. That's mental. After the match play, it's like 150,000, which is still high.
yeah,
It gets up to like 900,000 million when the World Championships are on. So it's such a big spotlight on you. I had a couple of little mistakes. There was some things that I'd said during players walk-ons that some people didn't like or whichever. But those are things that we were trying out. Not just me. This was with
PTC.
Prescott. Yeah, and also I didn't want to go out and just sound exactly like John. You
And
can't.
no one can.
No, you can't sound like John. And also, there is an element of I'm still saying the same achievements. It's still
Yeah,
delivered in a similar way. Um, but I think I found a bit better about myself by doing that. And then, yeah, I think I'd done okay at the Worlds. And it was good to do it. And and I was really proud of myself, to be honest, after Worlds, because I was getting. I was getting a lot of grief,
yeah,
and rightly so on some of it. Some of the things were just people being nasty. You get some people on there that all they want to do is go out and abuse you. That's that.
yeah,
Do you know that? And that. But when I looked after the players, a player would lose or whatever. I'd done all their social media at the time. Some of the comments or
is that
messages.
what you used to do before?
When I worked for Modus, I done lots of things, but one of them was their social media. So I done Michael's, I done Wadey's, Webster's, and some of them I used to go on there, and I'd be like, "Yeah," and I didn't want them to read it because some of it was vile. I mean, some of the things. But that's part of social media. Social media can do some great things for people, and it is important to anyone that's in any sort of media spotlight or anything like that. It can do really well for them. But you've also got to take that there is people on there that are just going to want to abuse you. So yeah, I knew those things would happen. I took a lot of it. Like I said, even some of the people that were really critical, I wasn't much different with it. But then some people just, even when I was improving and doing well, that they'd be going on at anything I'd done. So it is hard to deal with, but a lot of the time I just sort of didn't read it. And then it sort of died out after the Worlds, and then then John retired, which was a strange. It was all that sort of at the end of the final. I remember when he came down the steps after he'd done his walk on, and I remember sort of being like, everyone was clapping when he come down, and he took off his earpiece, and he just got out and just handed it to me, his
Yeah.
earpiece that he'd had for God, and I
I
just sort of,
think they did video in. I think I did see it. Yeah,
he gave me his earpiece, and I was like, and I remember Matt Porter come up to me and go, right, over to you then, mate. And then I was holding it together there, and then I remember I was going back. I sort of got my stuff and my girlfriend now, we just sort of started talking, and I got in the car with her. She went, "You all right?" I remember it burst into tears. It was crazy. I think it was a big, like, it was one John. A lot of it was happiness, but just, it was just Matt. It was just, it was a lot. I mean, you're also at the final of the world. It's an emotionally charged room you're in.
Yeah.
And it had been for those. I mean, it's the best time of my life, and at those points there, it's some of the happiest points I'll ever have in my life. So, yeah, it's amazing. And then after that, it was Bahrain and Saudi, which walked out and done that, and I forgot what it.
Get on Saudi Arabia. Oh yeah, you go on YouTube. Yeah,
Horrible. It was
I,
horrible.
I remember seeing it. I'm like, are you okay? Obviously, I seen you in December, so like, there's a lot of misconceptions. It's like you just you're not as bouncy as you're bouncy in person. That maybe people just see you as just you with doing the MC, and but yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it was an horrible moment. And then I got Mike. I somehow called Michael Mighty Michael Van. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called
Mistakes
now.
happen.
I think Michael Mighty Van Gogh, something like that. Got that, but it was just like I was just my head had gone a little bit after dropping those bits out, and so yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. But to be honest, I remember coming out and Matt went. I was thought was Iron Maiden man, and Matt Porter come over. Matt Porter came to me. He went. No, he said it's not great. Of course it's not. He said, but he said you were going to make a huge mistake at some point. You were. We said that from the beginning, and he said it's going to be horrible. Where he said, just don't go on social media. And then I remember just flicking through, wasn't even looking at the comments, and it came up as like a meme.
Why would you do it? No,
Horrible.
don't look at social media. Social media is the worst.
Yeah, and then the other thing, then I'd done Saudi, and then it was all a bit different in Saudi. I was sort of walking along while it was I was in a sort of walk on bit.
That
Which
was for me. I thought that was a bit weird, but I don't know. What did you think of when they
I
told
like
us that was the
I
plan?
liked it being a bit different. I mean, there was the other bit for me where I was like, I'm just getting over my having a slip up in Bahrain. I thought I'm going to stack it down these stairs because I had to get to a point. I had to walk down some steps or whichever. I quite like the different bit of it. I quite liked that walk on they had at Saudi. But then at the Wimbledon, I remember the Wimbledon World Masters. I loved that walk on bit they had there, where it was all the floor bit they had at the World Masters.
Yeah.
I really liked that. Which was then I think the tournament I done. No, when was the next one after that?
I can't remember.
Would be the Masters, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Masters.
Done that. I think I don't know what the Masters.
Because that's when PDC took full control of ITV, wasn't it? So,
Well, it was Saudi. Yeah, so it was Bahrain and Saudi, wasn't it? And then that they took full control of it. So, I mean, I didn't have much. I didn't have much to do with the because I think when I'd done the Players Championships, the first one in November, that was the last ITV one, and to be honest, it wasn't. There's a few of the same people that were involved with it, in terms of the production side, but all the other sort of outgoing presenters like Ned and who was the other lady who used to present it? Jackie.
Jackie Oakley.
Jackie and I had literally no communication with them whatsoever. I don't think John was sort of it wasn't there, and they were outgoing. It's like I'd come in, and there was no sort of. I didn't really have any time with them. The only person who spoke to me at length was John Rawlins, who I'd known from years ago.
Yeah.
And I really like John. I think John's a brilliant broadcaster. He's very good at boxing, stuff like that. So John had a lot of nice things to say, which was yeah. I didn't have much to do with the ITV, most of the ITV lot.
Do you have a lot to do with the Sky Sports? Like,
yeah,
you speak to them often.
Sky have been really, really good with stuff. So, which goes, down from sort of the AV people to the sound guys. You end up knowing them relatively well, and the directors at Sky have been really good in terms of what they're doing. I remember there was some points where I was thinking, would I still be doing it? Because there's a lot of self that I was making a few mistakes here and there, and I wasn't too happy with how I sounded and stuff, but I knew it was getting better. And I spoke to Sophie, Sophie Lamb at Sky, and I remember she said, I said, I was a bit worried about it. She's like, "You're doing really well because you know how quick you jumped in." She was like, "Mate, we would have got rid of you already." It's like Sky
Yeah,
don't mess about. If they didn't think there was, if they thought you were a disaster and it wasn't going to change, you would have been gone.
yeah.
Because yes, and rightly so. I think that if that was the case, um, so yeah, no, Sky are absolutely. I love working with Sky. You know, it's um, you are proving things as well. You are getting better with stuff, and Emma Payton's been really good with me as well. When you sit down, she's like, really encouraged me really well. So, um, yeah, Scott, I love working on stuff with Scott. It is great.
Um, what has been your favorite tournament to MCI?
So far, so if I can pick one from the Premier League, I'm going to do one for so Premier League. Belfast is definitely the best one. One of the best one I've done. One because I do love Belfast. Anyone hasn't been there, go there. It's an amazing place to go. But with I think I've done quite well in it. But Josh Rock hitting that 9 dart, I was literally just on the side, and when he hit it, it was. I mean, I felt it before, but the noise was like air hitting you in the face.
Yeah,
It was unbelievable. It's the Irish atmosphere they create, and all that amazing. So that was incredible. But the World Match Play that I've just done, I think that's where I've sort of my self belief is definitely a lot more there now. I think I've done really well with it. A couple of bits I think I got a bit carried away and it came across quite shouty, and my pronunciation on a few things needs to improve, and it will. But definitely, it got so it was just there was no major issues at all.
which is a plus sign.
Yeah, there wasn't any, and that was the biggest tournament. They're all big. I mean, doing the O2 final was big. Doing things like that, and then, um, but yeah, the World Match Play was a really really amazing thing to do, and I was incredibly nervous about it because you think at the end of the Premier League, I had the Premier League at the end of May.
Yeah,
I done Hyde Park, I think in maybe end of June, and
yeah. I
then
think I did see that. Yeah,
yeah, and then it was um, the World Match Play, and then so I hadn't really done anything for a couple of months. So it was a lot of time to be thinking about what you're doing next and whichever. So I remember walking up the steps to come on the stage, and I had that feeling again where my legs went a bit not jelly, but I could feel the nerves coming in.
how do you? We talk about enough, but how do you cope with like the just pressure of just speaking and stuff like that?
Um, yeah. So a good thing that John taught me is like if it's not right in your head, don't say it. Slow it down. You're going to say 4 or 5 things maybe about a player, depending on who the
Yeah,
player is. You're going to say a few things. Can't remember it. Don't say it. Don't worry. Just sounds going something else. Just don't. And those are things there. And it's like when I sort of go up, you know what you're going to say about the tournament. Which those are the sort of. It's like you get it all right. It's like I've got things better in order in my head now. That those bits are better where I know what I'm going to say. Right. Welcome to um the Winter Gardens Blackpool coming to you live on Sky Sports, which I don't know if it's sort of coming to you live, which I've been saying, but it seems to be work. It's
yeah.
almost sort of turned into my thing, which it's actually sad. But I've listened to that for it sounds good actually, yeah. And then people are saying about it, they're like, oh, and even if people are like, I'm starting to warm to this guy, and they all put him coming to you live.
Did
Um,
do you watch it? Did you know when you started? Did you watch it back first? See how you sounded.
yeah, it sounded good. Yeah, it sounded good.
Oh, what at the very beginning when you started? Did you
Oh,
start at the beginning?
yeah, I watched it back and I was like, oh, do I really sound like that? But the thing is, as well, it's like when I done the UK Open, which was what in March.
Yeah,
That was the first time I'd had my mic through my ears in March, so I couldn't hear myself the whole time. And then I said to Sky about it. They're like, okay, we can have this new system or new radio, so they said we can get it through your ears. So from sort of April, I started having it all the time from my ears. So the difference that like, my hearing is not great anywhere noise. I used
yeah,
to play the drums, so my hearing's absolutely battered. So having that go through your ears makes a huge difference. Absolutely huge difference. So you don't shout as much. You know, but I was just talking for it. I think next I might start putting them both through my ears, so that's all I can hear. But like at Blackpool, it was so amazing because I had one through my ear, and you can also hear it come around that building. That, you know, they don't. The sound of that is amazing.
Yeah,
Really is.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the players. So, what is your favorite player on the tour the 60s?
My favourite player on the tour. What on the Premier League or
Any yeah, on Premier League, any like tournament.
quite a tough one because obviously I know them personally. I spend a lot of time, you know, when I'm doing the tournaments. I spend a lot of time with Luke Humphries. We generally, you know, we'll go out for a few beers. There's been a video. I think there's a video of me and out in Dublin, whichever. Luke Humphries is a nice guy to meet. But then the other thing is, I do spend outside of it. You know, I do go up and like tomorrow. You know, Wadey's gone, but I'm gonna go up and do a couple bits around his garden tomorrow and out Sammy out with the kids tomorrow because he only lives up the road. So even though James isn't there, so like, you know, and I went for a practice with James the other day. Not that I'm very good at darts, but I was at his house and he said, "Do you want to come out?" So we went out for the day. So yeah, I mean, I guess on the tour, I'd say it's it's probably be Luke Humphries but it's there's so many people out there that I am close with, you know, that I do spend time with, you know, when I am out.
Who do you think the least to?
The least. Oh, I don't know. There's no I don't get on with.
That's a PR answer.
It's not, yeah, because there's somebody you speak to the least. I mean, it's like, say, like I get on really well with Gezi, always have done. Me and Gezi have always got on really well. But when Gezi's there, he's very focused on what he's doing.
Yeah.
Gets there, comes on, does his thing. But then if I see him in a hotel, it's very bad, you know, we have a little dick about, you know, whatever. But then on the when you're actually there, Gezi doesn't talk. But I think Gezi is incredibly focused when he's there.
People say his celebrations wait, he's a bit arrogant. What do you say to that?
What, Gezi?
Yeah.
I love him. I don't know if you've seen it, that when he goes and gives all the bigging like that, to the crowd, somebody at video, you see me just like, I love, because I absolutely like, I just want him to do it. I love it when he goes out and the crowd will react and he gives it the whatever it is he says. Wow, I don't know what people call it, but yeah. I love all that. So I don't. He's not arrogant. I don't think he's arrogant at all. I can see maybe why people will think his demeanour like that's on stage, but I think that's starting to disappear now. He's becoming a bit of a fan favourite, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember they used to boo Wadey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember Wadey used to get booed?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah. What? Do you remember B&B? What was your earliest memory of that?
Of my earliest memory?
Yeah.
Great question. So
I meant to ask at the beginning, but I forgot.
Earliest memory when I went up to the Premier League, 2008 maybe. It was at Brighton. Barney had lost again at the Premier League, so it was maybe 2008. And I remember back then, you go in the back room, and all the players, guests, whatever, that the players would be practicing. You'd be sat at the bar drinking. It was, you know, the players are practicing. As a player, you'd be there in the bar. And everyone could just go up to them while they're practicing. Obviously, it's all changed now. It doesn't happen like that at all. But actually, my earliest memory. Sorry, I've got it wrong. So it was the Worlds before that. So the end of 2007, maybe. Yeah. 2008. I think Barney at 9. Sorry. Barney hit a 9 darter, maybe against Yellow Castle.
Okay.
That's my earliest memory. That's the first time I went to Worlds. Barney hit a 9 darter. Was it Barney? I'm sure it was Barney. It was, yeah. You might have to should I check that? Have you got? No, we'll check it another time. But I'm sure that's right. Yeah. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the time for doing this interview.